ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ O gods, may we always hear with our ears what is auspicious. O worshipful ones, may we with our eyes always see what is auspicious. May we live our allotted life hale and hearty, offering our worship unto thee. May Indra of ancient fame bestow auspiciousness on all of us. May the all-nourishing portion be propitious to all of us. May Garuda, the destroyer of all evil, be well disposed towards all of us. May Brihaspati ensure all our welfare. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. We are studying the Amrutavindu Upanishad. In mantra 7, how to practice meditation has been indicated by the Guru or the Rishi. Svarena sandayed yogam aswaram bhavayet param. Aswarena anubhavena bhavo va abhava ishyate. At first, one should duly practice concentration on Om through the means of its letters. That is A, U, and and associating Akara with the waking, Ukara with the dream, and Makara with the deep sleep. What happens? Then a sadhaka comes to know that these three states are changing, but I never change. I move from one stage to the another stage, but they are experienced by me. Hence, they are separate from me. I am unchanging. They are always changing. Why? Because the waking is negated in the dream. The dream is negated in the deep sleep. In fact, both the waking and dream. And the waking state negates both the dream and the deep sleep. They're always changing. Time changes, space changes, objects change, our concept will change. All these are happening. They're all due to the practice, abhyasa of samskaras we have developed. So, first, you separate yourself, be a witness, and slowly isolate the real witnessing I. Then, thereafter, when we reach only that capacity to separate, meditate on Om without regarding its letters. That means not to think of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, but to think of my higher nature, our higher nature, with the help of the instructions of the scriptures as interpreted by the Guru. And when we progress, finally we realize we are neither the Sakara nor the Nirakara. Why do we say I am not the Nirakara? Because our present concept of both Sakara and Nirakara, God with form, God without form, both are thoughts only in the mind. God with form is called Ishvara, or the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. But God without these activities is called Nirakara, Nirguna, Advaita, so many names. But that is also a concept. We have studied in the Mandukya, one of the greatest truths Gaudapada wants to inculcate into our brains is that even the thought about Nirguna Brahma is only a thought in the mind. When we transcend the mind, this thought also, both Sakara, Nirakara thoughts, will completely disappear. Even in a glimpse of it, we can understand through the experience of deep sleep, where even my body, my mind, not to speak of anything related with the body mind, completely disappear. And therefore, there are no problems. And therefore, there are no solutions needed. That is called Paramashanti. And then he becomes, it is also our verbal expression, a thought. Such a person, he knows, I am Brahman. Even this description is only a thought in the mind. Continuing into the eighth, Tadeva Nishkalam Brahma, Nirvikalpam Niranjanam. Tad Brahma Aham iti Gnatva Brahma Sampadhyate Dhruvam. What happens when a person transcends that second stage of meditation on the supreme reality as indicated by the meditation on what is called Swara means Omkara, on Omkara. That is said that again it is a verbal description, Shabda Pravrutti. So that Brahman is described in through three epithets. Nishkalam, partless. It is like space in a way of speaking. It is partless. That means it is infinite. That means it is one without a second. And it is nirvikalpa. Since vikalpa means any change can happen only when there are parts. What we call changing, aging, and being born. This is all. The descriptions of the parts only, any object with parts. And this very beautiful but very profound concept is known as Sanghata. That is a assemblage. Like you take any object, my body, so the hands, legs, eyes, etc. You take any car, there are millions of parts. Take an aeroplane, more than a million parts. Take a house, there are so many parts are there. So every object in this world has parts. What about the mind? Mind also has parts. How many parts mind has? Four parts. What are those four parts? Manaha, Chittaha, Ahankaraha, and Buddhi. Four parts are there. And what is beyond? That is Advaita. Therefore, really nirvikalpam, there cannot be any vikalpa means change, changelessness, eternity. So Nishkala means infinity, nirvikalpa means timelessness, eternity. Niranjanam, as we discussed yesterday, Anjana means stain. So stain can come. Only something is pure, and then second object comes, and that combination of two objects is called stain. Many times we think the word stain means dirt. Not necessarily. So if wood and iron come together in a table or in a house or in any this thing, plastic, nowadays many cars are made of special material, modified plastic, which is very strong, stronger than even steel. At the same time, easy, very light. So many satellites that are sent into this space, they cannot afford to give very heavy things that consumes a lot of energy and a lot of force. So they are ever in quest of lighter but very strong materials. They have discovered something. It is called graphene. So we do not know how far it will be. Our scientists will be successful in making new materials out of this graphene. It is extraordinary characteristics. Anyway, so Niranjana, that is two things, can never become one thing. They may be very close, but they cannot be absolute, attain absolute oneness. For example, you can mix salt and sugar in water, but they appear to be very close. They will be close, but they will never become absolutely one. Water plus water can become one. Sugar plus sugar can become one. Oil plus oil can become one. So these are the three characteristics as aids for contemplation. And if one can do it, one after the other, tad Brahma aham iti gnatva. He will attain to that knowledge, I am Brahman. Then what happens? Dhruvam Brahma sampadhyate. That eternal, unchanging Brahman is attained. Sampadhyate means obtained, attained becomes. That means he realizes I was not a body mind. I thought I was the body mind, but this is called claiming. Yes, I forgot I was Brahman. Now, through the grace of the scripture and Guru, we again realize that that memory has come back. This was what Arjuna replied to Bhagavan Krishna. Nashto mohaha. My delusion is destroyed. Then what happens? Did you become Brahman? No. Smriti labdha. I obtained back my smriti. Smriti means memory. Memory. I forgot who I was. A madcap who thinks that he is the king of a country, prime minister, or Napoleon, or whatever, if he is well treated, and what does the psychiatrist really do? He only removes that false identity, false notion. And then the person realizes, I thought I was so and so, but I know I am so and so. This is called claiming. So Brahma Sampadyate Dhruvam. And in the ninth mantra, which we have been seeing in our last class, the another five characteristics are elaborated here. Nirvikalpam anantancha hetu drishtanta varjitam apramayam anadincha yat gnatva muchyate buddha. What are the five characteristics? Brahman is without doubt, endless, beyond reason and analogy, beyond all proofs, causeless, knowing which the wise one becomes free. First is nirvikalpam. Already we have seen this nirvikalpam in the earlier mantra. Now anantancha. So that which doesn't change, it must be eternal. And whatever is eternal can only be infinite. No finite object can ever be eternal. It will have a birth, it will have a change. That change, another name for birth, is called a change. When we say there was this, a couple gets married, and after some time, a baby is born. So the baby was in an unmanifest state before. Now suddenly time has made it manifest. Like the seed of any big tree, whether it is a redwood or banyan or mango, it doesn't matter. Even the tiniest plant. What happens when it is in the seed state? We cannot understand. There is no difference between the seed state of a mango or an apple or a redwood or a mustard. They're all absolutely same only. Of course, I'm not talking about physical differentiation. As a seed state, Seed means non-manifestation. But all of them, when they are sown, when they come into contact with water and soil at the right season, then each one will manifest. So that manifestation is called birth. So a seedling is born. So like that, a baby is born, a mountain is born, a river is born, a forest is born. There is a saying in English language, 1,000 years a desert, 1,000 years a thriving city, 1,000 years a forest. So changes are taking place from a non-manifest to come into the manifest is called birth. And again, to go back into that unmanifest is called death. In between, that is called change. That is called growth, whatever it is. So, Anantam, that which doesn't have a part, that is infinite. So, this is how we extend our understanding of what is God, normally what we call God. And this is, we, in our day to day practice also, we do practice actually this one. For example, you are a devotee of God and you are, let us say, in Bangalore or America, doesn't matter, and you installed, let us say, Krishna's image, and you bow down every day and you sing glories, you meditate upon it, and then on a holiday you come to India, and then you go to Vrindavan and you visit Krishna, you go to one temple. Do you feel that Krishna whom you were worshipping in Texas or USA, is it different from this Krishna in Vrindavan? Absolutely no. And then you can get various manifestations, forms, what is called baby Krishna, what is called adult Krishna, or Gopa Krishna, Gopi Krishna, Gita Krishna, philosopher Krishna, 125-year-old Krishna. Do you feel that he has become aged since you have arrived in India? 1 month passed, so Krishna had aged 1 month. You definitely have aged 1 month, but not Krishna. We already cherish these ideas. He is everywhere and he is beyond time, space, and causation. So these ideas are there, but they have to be more assiduously practiced. Now, take some religion, say Allah is the only God, and then whoever doesn't worship. If Allah is the only God, then who created this entire universe? He must have created. And out of what did he create? He doesn't have any material, so he is the material. He is both, as we say, the material cause, the intelligent cause, as well as the instrumental cause. If that is true, who created non Islamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, or Hinduism, or Jainism, or Buddhism, or Sikhism, any ism? How dare these people say that you are not, you don't belong to our religion, you are not religious people at all? This simple truth, people do not seem to understand because they have been brainwashed so much by these so called mediums, interpreters. But here, there is only one truth, one reality. It is infinite, it is unchanging. And not only that, if pot is created from clay, the whole, even if 1,000 pots are there, the reality is only the clay. The pots are only differing in shape, in size, in form, in color, in capacity, etc. But they are nothing but clay. If that is true, this entire universe consisting of living and non living, then various types of living beings, then our bodies, our minds, and everything must be that divine reality. And that divine reality is called Sat Chit and Ananda. And if it is called Sat, we can understand because we can experience it, existence. But we may not experience Chit, or we may not experience Ananda. But they cannot be separated because the cause must manifest 100% as the effect. There is no other way. So that is called infinite. Now, is there any way we can illustrate it? No, it's not possible. As I have illustrated yesterday, description has to be done through some verbal expressions. And all verbal expressions fall under 5 categories. That is, a conformed truth, then a species, then some relationship, some particular quality, and some action, like a driver, like a cook. This is red, and this is my uncle, and this is the sun, the brightest star in the whole region, solar region, is called the sun, etc., etc. We can say, what is the sun like? You know, even to a person, to a baby, you light a lamp, take up a torch, and switch it on. A flood of light is thrown. And then you see that flood of light. You see, this is called light. How do you know it is light? Because what does light do? It reveals objects. So, but that which is there throughout the daytime and in some regions, most of the 24 hours, especially in northern hemisphere like Iceland, etc. So, practically 24 hours it is there. And another few months, practically it is dark only. Just to see glimmer of light and it disappears again. And we know that such people suffer from, during those dark days, from a disease called SAD, mental disease. SAD, seasonal affectation disorder. And the only remedy is bright light. So we can show an example. So suppose you don't know what is rasgulla or laddu, but everybody knows there is a fruit, it is very sweet apple, and you taste it. What is the taste? Oh, it is sweet. Now imagine this is another type of sweet, but is much, much more sweeter, what is called concentrated sweetness, condensed sweetness. That is how we can tell. Hetu drishtanta varjitam. Hetu means logic. Can God be understood by logic? Absolutely no. Even drishtanta means example, analogy, or a metaphor. These are various methodologies through which something unknown must be conveyed for a person through what that person knows. So we give the famous example, there is fire behind the mountain. How do we know? Because we can see smoke. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Just as in a kitchen, so you gather some firewood, and immediately there would be smoke. And that is why the chimneys are kept for the smoke to be taken out. So we see there cannot be smoke without fire. But we don't see the fire behind the mountain, but we see the rising smoke. And then we understand. So there must be fire, because this is what is called vyapti. Wherever there is smoke, there must be fire. So that is how it happens. But our Nayayikas, logicians, they give also, wherever there is fire, there need not be smoke. For example, so, what is called electric, this is there. Of course, sometimes when you put something and it burns, smoke will come. But as it is, we don't see any smoke. But smoke cannot be without fire. That is impossible. So they are always related together. That is called vyapti, extension. So we use it actually all the time. So supposing somebody comes in a particular car practically every day, and one day you peep through your window and you see a car is parked, or in the office, your boss, his particular car is there, peeked through the window, and there is the car. That means the boss may not be in his office room, but he will be somewhere else nearby. Don't pull it too much. So he might have changed the car, or, or he must have come in somebody else's car. Everything is possible, but as an example, we should not pull examples too much because these are only to illustrate, not to describe the fact. So, like that. So, hetu. Hetu means what? Some logic. Even in this world, logic is not possible. For example, your mother cooks very tasty food and you eat it and you really feel very, very tasty. This is an emotional response. What logic can establish that this is really a very tasty object. If you take it to a laboratory to analyze all the components, it will give you so much of carbohydrates, so much of vitamins and minerals and fat and sugary content, oily content, etc., etc., etc. But that doesn't prove that it can be tasty. Actually, taste is a matter of habit. If I'm not habituated to something, I don't usually find it very tasty. I was shocked one day when I was in UK. We went to a garden. That was a mango season, and very sweet mangoes have come. So some devotee had brought. I gave it to a uh, English lady, and then she ate it and said, "I don't like it." I said, "Why?" "It is too sweet." But for Indians, there are some people I heard they only subsist on mangoes throughout the summer season. Yes, it cannot be really, measured. Anything tasty. You look at a painting. So, especially South Indian paints, all the features of peculiar South Indian face cut, etc., and even the way Sita is dressed like a South Tamilian lady, the South Indian painter will paint. Whereas if a North Indian paints, it will be like a North Indian features. Most of the Krishna's features are like that. So once I joked with somebody, the Krishna is a cowboy and Texas is full of cowboys. Can we paint Krishna as a cowboy with a hackneyed hat, a short gun, and then instead of the flute, and then standing by his horse and worship him? No, 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 no. We won't get anything. He is not our cowboy. So like that, all the objections will come. What am I trying to tell you? That is, even if someone has to say this painting is beautiful, then the person must, for that particular person, that some emotional response has come. But it doesn't mean that for such and such a reason, showing some logic, it is beautiful. No taste, no beauty, etc., can be measured in a laboratory. It is all a matter of the mind reacting. Therefore, if this is the case with regard to objects in this world, what to speak of that which is one, that which is infinite, that which is birthless, that which is pure consciousness, how do we ever describe it? That is what it is said, hetu drishtanta varjitam. So, an example, a metaphor, or logic cannot measure him. That is why in the Katha Upanishad we get Naisha Tarkena Matirapaneya. And Aprameyam. Prameya means that can be measured. How can you measure infinity? Because the very measuring instrument limits an object, another object. So there must be two, an object, a measuring instrument, and an intelligent human being who wants to measure it. So much of division has already come. So the mind cannot work there. Why? Because the mind is constituted of three things: time, space, and causation. And everything in this world is limited by desha, kala, vastu, parichedya. That is limited by space, time, and causation. This was one of the marvelous uh, discoveries of Einstein. So time and space cannot be separated. They belong to two dimensions of the same reality. So that is why it is impossible. So just to illustrate, how are things limited by time? So I cannot be what is called young man and old man at the same time. I cannot be waking person, dreaming person, or a deep sleep person at the same time, at different times, yes. So this is called kala. And then desha, space-wise limitation. How? I can't be both here and in America or in UK or anywhere else. It is impossible. At different times, I can be at different places, but at the same time, I cannot even be in the next chair, not to speak of long distances, at the same time. And then every object in this world, supposing there are two chairs. So one chair limits the other chair. Supposing there are two chairs with a small space in between, and somebody brings what is called a big chair, and he wants to fit it in between these two chairs. But that space will not allow that bigger object because those two chairs are limited by the space. A bigger object cannot be accommodated in a smaller amount of space. So every object in this world is changing. That means at the same time, they cannot be two things and they cannot be at the same place. And there must be a cause for their changing. What is the cause? The very nature itself is the cause. But how to know God when he cannot be conveyed through all this? So it is said God is known through faith and he is realized only through direct experience. What is the experience? I cannot experience God. You cannot experience God. Nobody can experience God. But to be God is one type of experience. For example, I see a tree, I see a house, I see you. This is one type of experience. But can I say, I experience myself? No, it is impossible. I can be myself, but I cannot experience myself. So this is a very special type of experience which is not comparable to the ordinary experience. And then for aprameya means to be measured. What is to be measured? That is how to obtain knowledge. To measure means to obtain knowledge. How do I obtain knowledge? Through six pramanas. Pramana means a means of obtaining right knowledge. Pratyaksha, direct perception. Anumana, inference. Then what is called upamana, comparison. So this object looks like that tree. So they belong to the tree species, but they are complete. One is a mango, one is an apple, one is a creeper, another is a tree, etc., etc. Then there is also a peculiar something called arthapatti. Very interesting examples are given that by knowing certain facts, we infer This is separated according to Advaita Vedanta from inference. For example, there is a fat person. His name is X, and nobody had ever seen him eating daytime, and yet he was growing fatter and fatter. So everybody must be inferring from that, deducting from that. This person is not seen eating at daytime, but he must be eating whole night like French people at night time. Otherwise, fatness and not eating, they don't go together. There was a beautiful joke I want to share with you. Once Bernard Shaw and G.K. Chesterton, they met somewhere. Both of them are close friends. At the same time, they used to pull each other's legs. Bernard Shaw was a tall and very lean and thin. And this G.K. Chesterton, very short, but very, very fat. So Chesterton wanted to pull the legs of this uh, Bernard Shaw. So he said, Mr. Shaw, when people look at you, people feel that our country is going through a famine. And immediately, after all, he was Bernard Shaw, very, very sharp intellect. Without hesitation, he said, don't worry, Mr. Chesterton. When people look at you, they know why there is famine in UK. So this person who doesn't seem to be eating at daytime and yet growing fatter is only possible by eating, but he is eating at not at daytime. This is called deducting from the effect. Another example that is given is you go to sleep and then early morning you get up and all the streets are flooded. Then you infer from that whole night when I was deeply asleep, it must have rained. So this is called presumption also, arthapatti. Then there is another type of pramana. What is it called? Anupalabdhi. What is anupalabdhi? Anupalabdhi means absence of a thing. And most of the time, we are using it to obtain the right knowledge. How come? Supposing you see, you have a book, and every day you are reading it, you keep it at a particular place in a particular room, and one of your family members, occasionally, the person also sits there and then thumbs some of the pages. Maybe the person is also interested. One morning you get up, you want to read the book, you go there, you don't find the book. You know that the book has not have been taken by anybody and no thief has ever taken, will not take also. But then what happens? Some family member must have moved it to their room. How did you come to know that the book is there still in the house? Because when you noticed the absence of the book, that gave you the knowledge. The book must have been taken by that particular member who was interested in the book, and you go to that person's room and you find it. So this is a means of knowledge. Very, very often we use it like that. Many number of examples can be given, but it is very great aid. If something is not here, it must be elsewhere, like that. So if I don't get it here, I must seek it somewhere else. This is called anupalabdhi. Upalabdhi means obtainment. Anupalabdhi means absence of a particular system. All these five proofs for right knowledge are dependent upon body and mind. They can give knowledge of this worldly knowledge, anything, including the stars, including the galaxies, including what we call the uh, micro world. That is all possible. But with regard to is there life after death, are there other worlds? I'm not talking about Mars and other things. talking about subtle worlds, divine worlds, hell, heaven, and various gods reside. According to Hinduism, there are billions and billions of universes are there. So, are there other people, other worlds, afterlife, God? These knowledge about these can be obtained only through scripture. And in the beginning, we only have to rely upon having faith in them. And but how do we have faith in them? Why should we have faith in them? That is the question often raised. That which cannot be proved must not be believed in. This is one of the worst harms science has done. Whatever is not provable should be considered as non existent. But such a horrible, illogical truth. So, what happens? That scripture tells us, and we must have faith, but the scripture also cautions us this is only provisional faith until you realize, until you know for yourself through direct experience. You should have faith because even to take an action, we require some faith. That is how scientists also proceed. They collect data and then whatever knowledge is there, they try to classify all the data that they get together. And they arrive at some conclusions called hypotheses. They're all logical conclusions, not random, illogical conclusions, fancy conclusions. And then they put them to test. And when they are proved in the tests of the laboratory, then they're confirmed as truth. So, this is what scriptures also tell us, especially Hindu scriptures, that this is only a provisional arrangement, but you should completely put it into practice. But I will give you another example, which is most telling. If a person has faith, strongly believes in something, it brings about changes, both for good or bad. Most of the insane people, they believe in the wrong things. You call them superstition, but most people are superstitious, but not mad. But there are some people, a strong belief, I'm Napoleon and the president of America. Now, I think, according to my humble understanding, President of America cannot stand anybody claiming that he is another president of America. So the one madcap will not tolerate another madcap trying to find the right to trying to remove him and occupy his space. It is not possible. So what do you think if two people claiming both of them are Napoleons meet together and express their opinion? And that is what is happening all over the world. Now, I'll give a small example. Suppose you are sitting with somebody and suddenly things are going on normally. Suddenly one person starts to tremble. And then you ask, why are you trembling suddenly? I see a ghost. That person tells, I see a ghost. Then what do you do immediately? So, what are you doing immediately? You ridicule him. But he says, I see it. And you say, I don't see. We don't see. Nobody sees. Only you are seeing. Take this scenario. The point is not whether a ghost exists or not, is not at all the point to be considered. So long as this person really believes that there is a ghost and that belief induces in him trembling, fear, his adrenal glands will be shooting up and he may even have heart attack. So many effects will come and you cannot deny those effects. You may deny the truth or whatever of what he is experiencing, but you cannot deny the effects of that, what is called his claimed experience. Now take this example and take it a little bit further. Suppose somebody says, I believe in God. Have you seen God? No. Have you any proof that God exists? No. But I believe in him and I feel him. And then you are a madcap because science has disproved such things. No. That person is has become or slowly becoming unselfish, happy, completely contained, and he is what we call satiated with his own happiness, and his whole character has changed. Now, whether God exists or not is not the point. That by having faith that I believe in God, all these changes are wrought. And that is what is most important. If anybody believes in God, changes must come. If anybody claims we believe in God, but there is no change, selfishness is growing, miserliness is growing, and jealousy, hatred are growing, and they are ready to kill each other. That is no proof of faith in God. But on the contrary, anybody has real faith, his whole character will change, and for good. And he will be the most happy person in the world. God approves of my behavior, and I'm very happy. Don't worry about God exists or not. Just this, if anybody says, I believe in religion, I believe in God, these are the changes. One has to look at it. It is impossible. That's why it is said, truth is beyond logic and example. Hetu drishtanta varjitam. And as I said, aprameyam. Truth or God or Brahman is immeasurable and forever remains unknown. Unknown as we know any object, but completely known as I am that Brahman. And why do we say that? Because these five proofs that just now I have outlined, that direct perception, inference, analogy, or arthapatti, or comparison, or absence of an object, etc., etc., these are all working only in the world. In fact, these are the five means by which we are increasing our knowledge and right knowledge and falsifying false knowledge. And if something is infinite, you can't say there is a beginning. Beginning and end belong to what is finite. So since God or truth is beginningless, it is anadi. And when a person meditates upon these characteristics, and meditation means complete atonement, becoming identified. At best, God is aprameya, God is infinite, God is one, God is eternal. But later on, I am infinite, I am eternal, I am all pervading. That is called contemplation. When it happens, what happens? Buddha. Buddha means a wise person, an awakened person, a knower of truth. Muchate. He becomes completely free from limitations. Mukti. Another name for mukti is so time limitation, space limitation, and cause limitation or object limitation are completely dissolved. So now we are entering into the 10th mantra. And this is a mantra, it's very, very popular. And that is created by the Gaudapadacharya. We get in the Vitiya Prakarana, I think 42nd verse or 43 verse, I do not remember. Na nirodho na cha utpattihi, na baddho na cha sadakaha, na mumukshurva na vaimuktaha, ityesha paramarthata. The highest truth is that pure consciousness, which realizes there is neither control of the mind, nor its coming into play, neither am I bound, nor am I an aspirant, neither am I a seeker after liberation, nor one who has attained liberation. This we have discussed elaborately in the Mandukya Upanishad. But what it means is this one. From the highest point of mind, these teachings are given from the what is called absolute point of view. from the highest reality point of view. Never forget that one. So, na nirodha na cha utpattihi. Three pairs are there. Utpatti or nirodha can be interpreted in two ways. Utpatti means birth. There is neither birth, utpatti, nor nirodha, nor dissolution or death. From the highest point of view, not from our point of view. Or another way of interpreting is, so some people want to control the mind, some people want to be controlled by the mind. So if somebody wants to control the mind, it is called nirodha, chitta vritti nirodha. That is called yoga. And some people, they say, where is the need? I'm not in trouble. I'm quite a happy person. And whatever my mind says, that is, it says watch a movie, says eat this thing, it says quarrel with this person. I do that and I am quite happy. I'm quite satisfied with what I do. So let us take as birth and death. When there is no birth and death, from the highest absolute point of view, when there is no birth, there is no world. When there is no world, there is no bondage. When there is no bondage, when then there is no desire. I want to get out of the bondage. And when I don't have a desire to get out of the bondage, then I will not do anything. I do not aspire for freedom because only a free person can think like that. And I am not a seeker after liberation. And after performing some sadhana, spiritual practice, I have attained, I have become a liberated person. All these ideas, they do not exist from the absolute point of view. For example, every day we dream. And imagine just in a dream, somebody, you are walking in a solitary place, and then somebody comes, shows a knife or a gun, and binds you and starts beating you black and blue. And what would be your effort? How can anybody help me to get rid of this bondage and make me free? So then your desire is to be free. Then you are struggling to be free. Then your shouting is also a part of that struggle only. Then somebody comes and then he has a gun and he shows the gun. And then these people will run away. Then that person will release you. And then you feel, my shouting has worked. How did you come to know to my rescue? So I heard some distress calls, and then I came running to investigate, and I saw you. And fortunately, I have come deer hunting, and then I found these people. They ran away. I could help you. Oh, thank you very much. This is all happening in the dream. Then you wake up. From the waking point of view, were you ever bound? Did anybody bind? Did you shout? And did somebody come to your aid? And did they help you become free? And you felt a tremendous joy and you thank that person? Absolutely no. This is how we have to understand, and we have dealt with it in our last class. Na nirodho na cha utpattihi na baddhaha na cha sadhakaha na mumukshuhu na vai mukta. There is no birth and there is no death. There is no bondage. There is no spiritual practice aspirant. There is no desire for liberation. And there is no liberated, but from the highest point of view. From our point of view, there is birth, there is death, there is what we call threefold limitation: time, space, and cause or object fold limitation, and we are bound. We don't want to die, we don't want to be ignorant, and we don't want to be unhappy. These are the three bonds that are there. And so once we reach that state, then we wake up just like a person wakes up. We have to struggle just as we struggle in the dream state. That is very important. Then we move on to mantra 11. In this mantra, So it is called Anvaya Vyatireka, that is positive and negative descriptions, presence and absence. Anvaya means positive, Vyatireka means its opposite, to arrive at the truth. Here, logic is being used to convince us. And what is the conviction? That really the whole world that we see is nothing but Brahman. And whatever creature, living creature is there, it goes through three states we know about: the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep state. But the only one being, I, I was awake, I was dreaming, and I was in deep sleep. Now I am awake. Like that, I am continuously from birth to death. I am going through these three states. In this mantra 11, the Rishi, the Guru, is teaching to his disciples that Eka Eva Atma. So you think yourself as one. Atman is only one, not many. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptishu, Sthanatraya Vyatitasya Punarjanma Navidyate. And that one Atma, now popularly known as individual soul, Jivatma, it is experiencing waking, dream, and dreamless. And the most fundamental principle of Vedanta, whatever I am experiencing is not me. I see a house, I am not the house. I see a tree, I am not the tree. But we forget when it comes to body mind, we have to apply. I see my body, I experience my body, so I am not the body. And whatever characteristics belong to the body, I am. Those characteristics belongs to the body. It doesn't belong to me because I am not the body. Same thing we apply to mind also. Mind experiences enthusiasm, depression, elation, happiness, unhappiness, encouragement, discouragement, etc., etc. They're all characteristics of the only the antakarana, that is mind. It has nothing to do with me because since I'm experiencing them, I am not them. So if I can practice this, whatever I experience through five sense organs, that is not me. Sthana traya vyatitasya. Sthana means the states. Vyatitasya. I am separate from all that, completely different, complete opposite. They're all unconscious, without consciousness. Jada. But I am pure consciousness. I am awareness. When a person practices quite sufficiently, what happens? He will not be reborn. That means he understands that I am pure consciousness. This is a beautiful idea. We will explore in our next class. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. May the Ramakrishna Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda bless us all with bhakti. Jai Ramakrishna.